Uh, with that, we're going to move. We're going to move a little around a little bit in our schedule to accommodate people's respective schedules. So we're going to move to the 1140. Oh, I'm sorry. The Washington State Bar Foundation's report on moderate means program. Do we have Vice President Flood with us?
Yes, I am present. Can you hear me?
Yes. Former Governor Flood, welcome.
Thank you. And good morning, President, Board of Governors, and Executive Director. It is my pleasure to be in front of you today as the Vice President of the Washington State Bar Foundation for an update on what the Bar Foundation has been doing. I also want to introduce to you our manager for the Washington State Bar Equity and Justice, Diana Singleton, who's with us. And just to give you just a quick overview, we will have presenters Michelle Fuqua, Clay Wilson, Andrew Bullock,
Vice President Flood, we're having a little trouble hearing you. I'm told maybe if you take your camera off.
Yeah, we're seeing a message says your network bandwidth is low. Okay. So maybe if you turn your camera off, we'll get better audio. We definitely want to hear what you have to say. We'd love to see you as well. We definitely need to hear what you have to say.
Vice President Flood, we're still having trouble. Perhaps if you
okay.
Vice President Flood, maybe try with your camera turned off. We've lost Vice President Flood.
It looks like she'll be logging back in. There's one of her panelists, Diana. Someone, I believe she introduced some presenters.
Yeah, this is Diana. I'll just, I think Vice President Flood was just giving you a roadmap to the presenters from the Moderate Means Program. So while we're waiting for Vice President Flood, I'll just, in case some of you didn't hear what she was saying. So we have a number of different people from the Moderate Means Program that are here today to give you an update and a presentation about the amazing work that they're doing. So we have two people who help staff the program. Clay, oh wait, here's Vice President Flood. Are you back?
Yes, can you hear me better now?
Much better, thank you.
Yay. Vice President Flood, this is Diana. I was
okay. All right.
I was just about to share the names because people weren't able to hear when you were starting to introduce folks. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead and finish the names, and then I'll finish up the brief overview on the program.
Okay, great. So two folks from our who help staff the program are Clay Wilson from Seattle University School of Law and Michelle Fuqua from Gonzaga University School of Law. And then we also have an attorney who is on the Moderate Means panel, Ajibola Oladapo, who's here to share about her experience. And then we have two law students to share about their experience working on the program. So we have Christine Lucassen from University of Washington School of Law and Jay Calloway from, sorry, I messed that up. Christine Lucassen from Gonzaga University School of Law and Jay Calloway from the University of Washington School of Law. So that is who you'll be hearing from in a short bit, but I will turn it back to Tracy to go back to the overview.
So good morning again, and my apologies. I am outside now, so hopefully this is better and you can hear me. You may also hear some birds, but hopefully this is better. As I was saying, the Washington State Bar Foundation is the fundraising arm of the State Bar. And our mission is to fund programs that increases diversity in the legal profession. As you know, this the Moderate Means program was launched in 2011, and it's part of the public service portfolio. It's designed to fill the gap in moderate income households that still struggle to be able to afford an attorney. The initial program offered services in family, housing, and consumer law. With the COVID-19, added to that portfolio was unemployment benefits. The funds that the foundation awards to the Washington State Bar Association for this project are awarded to the law schools, which you're going to hear from as Diana introduced, from Gonzaga University, the University of Washington, and Seattle University. They administer and support them. So without further ado, as we mark our 10 years of critical program services, there's going to be presentations that give you a little bit more highlights of what the work is being done. So to our first presenter, which is going to be, I believe, a PowerPoint presentation and an overview by Michelle and Clay.
Great. Good morning, governors. My name is Clay Wilson. Thank you for giving this opportunity to speak with you this morning about the Moderate Means program. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully share my screen at this point. Let me see. Success. So I am the staff attorney for the Moderate Means program at Seattle University School of Law. Michelle Fukawa is also with me today. She's the interim director for the Center for Civil and Human Rights. On this first slide, we have a picture of some of our MMP students. On the far right there is Anna Creed, who is the data coordinator for the program. As was mentioned, this is our 10-year anniversary of the program. We first started contacting clients and referring them to attorneys in the spring of 2011. Here we have some of the milestones of the program. In 2012, we created an online application to make it easier for applicants to be able to reach us, and I'll show you a picture of that in just a minute. I should throw in here that in 2013 at SU, we turned the program into a practicum, which allows students to get credit for their work in the program. In 2015, we hired a data coordinator for the program, Anna Creed, who's been a tremendous help. In 2016, we won an Apex Award, the Sally Savage Philanthropy Award. In 2018, we began using triple LTs on our panels, and we've made several referrals to them since then. In 2019, the program that was at SU and the UW and was run by one person, myself, was bifurcated. We now have a half-time staff attorney at each of the schools. And lastly, as everyone else had to do in 2020, we had to learn how to operate remotely and online. And we also added unemployment denial benefits cases to the portfolio of issues that we deal with. Just to give you a rough idea of how the program works, for those of you who may not know, applicants contact us either through our online application or a toll-free telephone number that we have. The students then call them back and do an interview with them. They collect information about their finances and their demographics. They collect information about their legal issues. The students then do a write-up of the case in the legal server database. When done with that write-up, they send it to their supervising attorney, either myself at SU, Christina Larry at the University of Washington, or Arian Noma at Gonzaga. After the attorney has reviewed the case, then the student will contact attorneys who have signed up to participate in the program, either by telephone or email, and will tell them about the case and offer the case to them if they're interested. If attorneys are interested in the case, we'll send them all of our case notes, including our legal analysis and our recommendations of what needs to happen in the case. This is a screenshot of our online application. As I say, we created that a few years ago. We purposely tried to make it as optimistic looking as we could. It has a blue sky, and as you'll see, white fluffy clouds there in the sky, and then it has this road going off into the distance. I like to think of that as being the road to justice for our clients, hopefully. Here are some of the benefits that clients get out of the program. For many of them, and they often tell us this, it's the first time that anyone has actually listened to them about their legal issue. And generally clients are very appreciative of that. Of course, the main reason they're contacting us is to get a referral to an attorney. And most of our clients will be referred to an attorney, and hopefully the attorney and the client will agree to work together. The client will get representation at a reduced legal rate. If for some reason we cannot make the referral or the client does not qualify for our services, then we will refer the client to another organization or to other legal resources. For students, the students get training through the program. They're trained in the legal areas that we deal with. They're also trained in other more practical areas, such as how to use the legal server database and how to interview clients and how to deal with difficult clients, things like that. They get the experience of interviewing a large number of diverse clients with diverse legal issues. They get practice in doing legal research and analysis, and they also get the chance to communicate with practicing private attorneys. For attorneys, they get free client referrals. They get access to mentors through the program. When they take a case, they receive our write-ups so that before they even meet with the client, they'll know what the case is about, and they'll have an idea of what might need to be done and what we think needs to be done in the case. They also get free CLEs through the WSBF. We have exactly 743, law students in the program since its inception. These graphs give you an idea of the breakdown of those students historically. And I think that's it for me. Michelle, would you like to take over?
Yeah, thank you, Clay. And good morning, governors. Thank you for letting us present today. I just wanted to go through some key statistics for the MMP program. And I'd like to recognize our wonderful data coordinator, Anna Creed, who was able to pull this together for this presentation. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here today. But we can start off with requests for services. And this includes all matters which come to the Moderate Means program, either through the online application, by telephone, or by the CLEAR referral line. And in total, we've had 26,354 requests for services since the program has started. The next box is intakes, and that would be any time that one of our MMP students or one of our MMP staff attorneys actually gives any kind of service to a client. That could be screening a client in for services, screening a client out for services. Anytime that they touch a case, it would be counted as an intake. If for some reason the student or the attorney is not able to connect with someone, then that's not counted as an intake. So you can kind of see that the numbers go down from 26,000 to 18,000 because we weren't able to contact everyone. And then referrals to attorneys. These are intakes which once an MMP attorney reads through a case and decides that they want to connect with a client, that counts as an attorney. Now, it doesn't mean that they will ultimately find representation, that the attorney will ultimately accept the case, but it does mean that information about the MMP attorney will be passed on to the client, and that counts as a referral for the program, and that is 5,657. As far as breakdown across counties, I took a look at our fiscal year 2020 report. And I think it's obvious, like King County being the most populous county had the most requests for services in that year, which was 329. Second was Spokane County with 312, and third was Snohomish with 236. Sorry, those numbers are not on this slide, but I wanted to just kind of give you an idea of where some of these referrals or requests for services are coming from. So next slide, please. So this slide will kind of go over just the trends of attorneys that have participated in the program since 2011. The yellow bars represent the total number of attorneys in that year who have participated in MMP. And you can see that from 2011, we started off with 335, and it slowly increased and grew to a peak of 580 in 2016. And then, it's been on the decline since then. And currently we have 462 panel attorneys that we can refer cases to. The blue bar represents the number of attorneys who have left the panel in that year. And then the green, the number of attorneys joining the panel. So next slide, please. So this slide, we wanted to just kind of illustrate and show the governors what some of our challenges have been. This just shows where current MMP attorneys have their offices. The areas in black are areas in which no attorneys have offices. So you see on the right side, those are counties where we have no MMP attorneys actually having a physical office in that county. And you'll see, obviously, King County having the most attorneys in that county, with Pierce and Snohomish following. So the lack of attorneys in rural areas, even in places like Spokane, often results in case closures without any referral to an attorney. There are times, even in Spokane County, even though we have 500,000 people in our county, recently we only had one family law attorney accepting MMP cases. So it has been quite frustrating, but I do want to mention that there have also been very generous MMP attorneys who are willing to do phone consults throughout the state. And so although there's that type of coverage, oftentimes, full representation would not be possible in places like Wahkiakum or Skamania. So next slide, please. So just in an effort to explain our program and hopefully entice attorneys to join our program, our MMP crew has worked with Diana and other people with the Bar News to create these advertisements. I think the one on the left with Israel Carranza, one of our great law students at Gonzaga, that was in, I think, the most recent Bar News. But these ads will hopefully target attorneys practicing in Eastern Washington, and hopefully they would consider joining MMP. And so that I'd like to turn it back to Clay, who will kind of close us out with our program needs and goals.
Thank you, Michelle. So as Michelle indicated, one of the ongoing needs of the program is to have more attorneys in rural areas. And so we are always looking for those attorneys. And if you happen to run into anyone that might be interested, please encourage them to sign up for the program. Another goal of ours is to increase the case acceptance rates. Even in King County, where we have over 200 attorneys on the panel, if sometimes we have to contact a number of attorneys before we find someone who's willing to take the case. And another long-range goal that we have in the program is to do more outreach to more diverse clients, so that we can make sure that we're serving all the populations of the state. Thank you, and that is the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact either myself or Michelle. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's the Board of Governors is meeting in Southwest Washington, and it's that map is very interesting. It looks like 4 out of the 7 counties of District 3 lack resources to attorneys. And Eastern Washington is even more concerning. So there is a clear need. I'll open this up to any questions from any of the Board of Governors, from any of our panelists. And I also see Chief Singleton has her hand up. Chief Singleton, I'll start with you.
Sure. Well, I still want to interrupt the questions, but we have a few more presenters. If you have any questions for Clay and Michelle, you can choose to ask them now, but I just want to make sure we don't forget to hear from our attorneys and law student about their experience. So would you prefer to ask questions now or wait till the end?
I am not seeing any hands, so let's proceed forward.
Great. So I think maybe we'll turn it over to Aji Bola for you to share about your experience as a moderate means panel attorney.
Thank you. Good morning, Board of Governors, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experience with the moderate means program with you. I actually signed up for the program since its inception, since 2011, and I've actually been taking on referrals ever since. And the students are doing, the staff, the students, everybody who's on that program, they're doing a very good job. I have not had any really negative issues with getting the referrals. And typically what happens with what happens in this case is when they do make the referrals, the first thing they do is the students email, they send several emails. I could get like 3-4 emails from different universities asking for representation for a client. So the first step they take is to email me, and they would introduce themselves. I am from the School of Law, and we have a client that we would love to refer to you, and they tell me just tell me a brief what the case is about. It's not going to be a summary in the email just yet, but they would tell you, for example, if it's a family law case, they'll say, I have this potential client who has a family law custody case in Pierce County, and I typically take on cases from Pierce County, Snohomish County, and King County. And so they would email me and let me know, this is the case. Could you they'll tell me what the potential client's name is and the opposing party's client's names are, and have me do a conflict check. And if there are no conflicts, then they would say, if you're interested, we would send you the notes. And then I would do a conflict check, and I would look, and then once there are no conflicts, then I would email them back and say, could you please send me the intake notes? And I get the intake notes typically in about it could be less than an hour, sometimes 24 hours. And once I do that, they send me the intake notes, and the notes are usually detailed. It tells me how much the client makes annually, tells me the opposing parties' names, the client's names, contact information, and it tells me the legal summary of what the case is about. So basically, they already tell me what the factual summary is and what the legal analysis is. And so that makes it a lot easier for me to undertake representation, to say, yes, I think I'm going to take on this case. And so once I review the notes, I'll email the student back and say, this case is good enough. I think I want to take on this case. And then they will, please feel free to contact the potential client and let them know. And then they will contact the potential client and have that client contact my office. And then it goes from there. And the turnaround time is pretty fast. At most is 24 hours to 48 hours. The students are getting back to me. And sometimes if the client does have like an urgent need and they really require representation within 24 hours, the students are going to let me know. You have 24 hours to consider this case. And if you do not respond in 24 hours, we're going to contact another attorney. And I would either not respond to that if I can't take that case just at that point, or I would say, please I've done the conflict check, and you just send that over to me. And then I'll take on the case, and then the client comes into my office, and the clients are always very happy that they have representation. They've tried several times to go to several places looking for representation, but once they come into my office, I evaluate their case, and And with the consultation, I determine if I'm going to go forward and I'm going to take the case. And then once I take the case and start providing ongoing representation, I will get a form from the MMP students who they'll send those forms to me and say, did you complete those forms? Are you providing ongoing representation? Did you decline the case? Did you accept the case? What's the status? And I'll email them back. It's either I did not take the case or I am providing ongoing representation, and then they close the case. And I will continue on with representing the client if I have taken the case. And I have seen that most times these clients are always, they have access to justice, reduced fees, and they're always very, very appreciative that we have this kind of program that's helping the community. This program really, really does help the community, and I'm really grateful that we do have this type of program in place. And also, the only issue that I had in the beginning when we started, that was in 2011 when the referral started and we started taking on those clients. Sometimes they will be confused as to whether they would have to pay fees or not, whether it was pro bono or low bono. And then I had to explain to them, you're going to have to pay a fee. It's not pro bono, it's low bono. So they were confused at the beginning, but now I think the students are actually doing a good job explaining this to them, so they all understand that they would have to pay fees, but it will be reduced at a reduced rate. So those are my experiences so far. It's been great, and I have no issues at all. Thank you.
Thank you for your experience, Ms. Oladapo, and sharing your experience, and also for doing this important work. It's much appreciated and should be recognized. Chief Singleton, do we have another presenter?
Yes, we have two law students, Christine Luckison from Gonzaga and Jay Calloway from UW. And I know we're pressing up against lunch, so I'll just a quick reminder to Christine and Jay just to take us. We definitely want to hear from you. I don't want to rush you, but I think we could go till 12:05. So I'll turn it over to Christine so that we can hear from you first.
Thank you. Good morning, governors, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak this morning. My name is Christine Luckison, and I volunteered with the Moderate Means program for all 3 years I was in law school at Gonzaga University. I continue to volunteer because the program is really fulfilling for students. It allows us to practice interviewing clients and coordinating with attorneys, and because it offers a window into part of the legal world that you don't really know exists before coming to law school. It helped me to understand that social justice and access to justice happens one client at a time. I would not hesitate to encourage anyone to volunteer because it was a highlight of my law school career. During my volunteer time, I successfully matched dozens of clients with attorneys and triple LTs. And in the 3 years, I only had one client that I could not find an attorney for. Through being a volunteer and talking with both clients and attorneys, I've observed 2 areas of the program that I do think could be reevaluated, primarily attorney recruitment and reevaluating the sliding scale for proposed fees. First, and this has been stated before, we really just do need more panel attorneys. I am not an attorney, so I don't know what I'm asking an attorney to give up in order to sign up with the program. But I think something like a reduction in bar fees, or maybe just something as simple as asking attorneys what incentives they would like to see could be useful. But that is something that I think has been stated already and needs to happen. The other issue, I think, is the lack of transparency for both clients and attorneys regarding the fees. I think the sliding scale is very helpful, but I think that the reality is that clients and attorneys face a lot of uncertainty when they connect through MMP. And that's in part because the sliding scale is not mandatory and is not always honored. I do think a better and more clear system would be maybe a flat fee system or a mandatory sliding scale. I think that way both clients and attorneys are clear on the possible cost before that connection is made, because connecting an attorney with a client that cannot pay their requested fee, it only exacerbates their legal problem by delaying resolution. In short, I do think increasing participation and transparency are 2 very tangible paths forward to continue moving the program in a positive direction. But I do want to say again, I think this is an amazing program, and I'm grateful for how much real world experience I was given. And I know for sure it was a huge factor in securing the job that I did after graduation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Leckerson. And I know from my experience in the past, having these opportunities at the law school level are very rewarding, not only for the people who we are helping, but also for you and developing your own career. So thank you for that. And thank you for suggesting additional measures that we could take to improve the programs. Much appreciated. And I understand next is Jay Calloway.
Yes. Good morning, governors. It's so nice to meet all of you. I appreciate your willingness to take time to hear from myself and other stakeholders in the Moderate Means program. Again, my name is Jay Calloway. My pronouns are they, them, their, and I'm a third-year law student at the University of Washington. I have been volunteering with the Moderate Means program since April of 2020. Today, I wanted to share some of the ways that the program has enriched and shaped my experience throughout law school, from the development of skills and knowledge and shaping my career path and providing an immensely fulfilling and rewarding experience that I wasn't finding in my traditional academic studies. In terms of skills, I've learned quite a bit in my 15 months with the Moderate Means program. I've improved my interviewing skills, learned to use Legal Server, interpreting services, and become familiar with a variety of legal aid resources in Washington. When my current summer internship supervisor asked me to manage my own caseload through Legal Server and conduct intakes this summer, I jumped at the opportunity because the Moderate Means program had prepared me for exactly that. Further, I've developed additional critical soft skills. With guidance from my school supervising attorney, I've navigated difficult situations regarding client competency, expectation setting, and learned firsthand how the rules of professional conduct work. In the 57 cases I've worked on this quarter, it's not only helped me build substantive lawyering skills, but it's also made me a better student. In spring quarter, I took my first family law class, and I was excited to realize as I looked over the syllabus that I had read almost every RCW that was assigned, and I had a great foundational knowledge of the concepts that would be covered. This base of knowledge from the Moderate Means program allowed me to delve more deeply into the material and excel in the class. Second, the Moderate Means program has been important because it's shifted my career aspirations. A challenge that many students face, but I felt acutely as both a first-generation college student and first-generation law student, was envisioning what I would do when I graduated from law school. Before law school, I worked with LGBTQ students for 6 years in higher education, and I came to law school to develop more tools to help my community and other vulnerable populations, but I didn't know what type of job would allow me to do that. My internship with the Moderate Means program exposed me to the field of civil legal aid and showed me also the great need for sliding scale and pro bono civil legal aid services in Washington. In my conversations with clients, I have found Moderate Means is often the only viable option, and the program serves critical needs. I now know a career in civil legal aid is the best way I can serve both my community and other vulnerable populations, and it's where I aspire to go after law school. And then lastly, the Moderate Means program has been immensely personally fulfilling and rewarding. As I mentioned, I came to law school committed to public interest work because impact work is really my North Star. During my first year, I was challenged by the nearly singular focus on academics, but starting with the Moderate Means program has given me an opportunity to not only apply what I learned in class, but an opportunity to meaningfully participate and give back to my community here in Washington. While my initial commitment to the Moderate Means program was only for 2 quarters, I am here nearly a year later because this work grounds me and is fulfilling in a way that classes are not. Ultimately, interning with the program has allowed me to build tangible skills, complemented my academic program, and introduced me to my future career, and is one of the most fulfilling things I've done in law school. I appreciate the work of the WSBA to support this program and the opportunity to participate. Thank you all again for allowing us time to speak today.
And thank you, Jay Calloway. We appreciate your thoughts. It's too bad that we do not have additional time to hear about the Moderate Means program. Maybe we can arrange an additional time later on in the summer or the fall for additional time to ask questions and consider and hear from this important program. So thanks so much for appearing. We appreciate it. And thank you. All right. If any of the Board of Governors has questions that we didn't have time to attend to today, please feel free to email Executive Director Nevitt, and she'll be sure to get those questions to the appropriate people and responses to you. Okay, with that, we have lunch scheduled next door in Adams. And we have guests and local hero awards, presidential commendations. And so please do attend, and let's try to do so in the next 5 or 10 minutes so that we can get started and then back on track at 1 o'clock. Thank you.